I love this enthusiasm we're bringing.
Are we doing
today.
this?
Is this even real?
And we're back.
3 developers, 1 mission. Build a business to nurture personal fulfillment. It's not stupid. It's FounderQuest.
Okay, so you are listening to FounderQuest. We're a bunch of founders. We're on a quest. Thank you for listening. We are back after a rather long absence. Basically, people were gone different days during the holidays, and it was just kind of a weird scheduling situation. So we just decided to take, I guess, 2 months off, a month and a half.
Something like that.
Something like that.
A little more than we normally do at Christmas.
Yeah, a little bit more. But I've got to say, I feel a little bit refreshed. I'm ready to talk into a microphone again. I miss talking to y'all.
Likewise. Yeah, same. Yeah, I also miss the routine of just having this call every week.
And our listeners missed us. I had people reaching out to me saying, hey, is the podcast coming back?
Nice. Well, that's a good sign.
Yeah.
I know. That's so sweet. You got to get all your business tips in before it's just a bloodbath. You got to prepare for the anarcho-capitalist future.
There's some hope on the horizon, right?
Right, of course.
Yeah.
Well, I got to say, I'm having a great day so far. I was able to upgrade one of our repositories from Tailwind 1 to Tailwind 2 without any snags or hiccups whatsoever. I'm excited. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
It's not every day an upgrade goes off without a hitch.
Yeah, for sure.
It's kind of compensation, I think, from the universe for how badly the upgrade that I'm trying to do with our Elasticsearch cluster is going. Because upgrading from Elasticsearch 6 to 7 apparently is not in the cards for me. So, yin and yang.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a shame. So what are we actually talking about today? We just, it took everything we had just to make it here at 10 a.m. on Friday together. I don't know if anybody had the energy to really think beyond that.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assumption.
Actually, I had a thought on something that we could talk about, something that's been kind of on my mind for the past few days, and that is perhaps a slight recap of 2020. As I took the break, I was thinking like goals for 2021 and things I want to see, and looking back at 2020 and looking at some numbers. And to be honest, I'm kind of disappointed with how 2020 went from our business standpoint. Like the growth was not great. Like we had growth, but it was definitely off from previous years. And obviously, coronavirus was a factor, like no doubt. Like we saw our revenue take a hit in March, April. So, I mean, there's that, but still it's like, it just feels kind of to have the worst growth year. Well, I don't know if it's the worst. I don't know. I have to go back and check previous years, I guess, but it was not a fantastic growth year. And I'm just like, what can I do in 2021 to make that a different story? So that's been on my mind.
I was telling you the other day, like I've had the feeling that just like, it just felt like kind of a stagnant year, like just in general. A lot of that is because just of the conditions and, things that were out of our control. But then, also like you can only sit and like stare at the news for so many years in a row before you get back to work. I mean, we did a lot of work last year, like thinking back, like we did do a lot of work, but I also feel like, I don't know. I'm just looking forward to doing some new stuff and getting back to innovating.
Well, first of all, I have to say that it's not nothing. I also looked at our growth numbers and, it's not nothing that we grew and we had growth.
Right.
We are making like more money now in the midst of a global pandemic than we were when it started. So that's definitely something.
Sure.
That's not like, that's definitely a blessing. Like maybe we wish it was more, but it's still there.
I agree. Like having some growth is certainly a blessing. Like we had customers, and obviously in the news, there are a bunch of businesses going out of business, and we have
nothing to complain about.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. I guess I was thinking of it in terms of, as being 3 developers who started this business, 3 technical people, it's always been a weakness of ours on the growth side. Like the getting customers in the door kind of side. It's like, we've done some things and we've stumbled on the way, but we're not experts. Like we're not sales experts. We're not marketing experts. We're just kind of doing the best we can. And that's been great for us. You know, we've got a nice, comfortable business. Things are good. Growth has been good every year. But as I was thinking through these things, I was thinking about, well, you know, growth last year wasn't great. And yes, there were extenuating circumstances. But looking forward, like, what can I do that's different than I've done in the past, right? And so one of the things that I've been thinking about, like, I'm not a huge fan of New Year's resolutions, but I am a big fan of goals. And not that you need a new year to set goals, but so I'm thinking, like, my goals for the year, my goals for the quarter, and so on. I'm like, you know, maybe I need to get better at this whole, like, figuring out growth thing. Like, maybe I should really spend a fair amount of time just trying to get into what that means and doing some, I don't know. That's the problem. It's like, I don't know exactly what that means for me, but the one thing that I have thought so far is maybe that means I spend a little less time on the detailed getting things done, upgrading Elasticsearch clusters, and that sort of stuff, and a little more time than I have in the past on, okay, how do we get growth in our business? Yeah,
it's easy to fall back into just the comfortable routine. Like, believe it or not, like, upgrading Elasticsearch clusters is comfortable for you. You know, it's like. I mean, it's not enjoyable, but it's, you know how to do it.
It's the well-worn rut in my experience.
And the nice thing about technical tasks is that generally, if you did it right, if you succeeded. And with marketing, it's like, I don't know, or marketing or sales or whatever. I guess sales would be a little bit more direct feedback, but with marketing, it's like, okay, let's circle back in a year and see if we can notice any change.
Right.
That sounds really, really good. Like, I would love for everybody to be involved in chasing growth and all that. One of a couple interesting stats, like, I just want to throw out there that I was looking at yesterday, and I'm not going to throw out like absolute numbers, but we all agreed that it was okay to discuss like percentages or percentage changes and everything. So I think this is interesting just to show how 2020 has been different than previous years. So what I did is we use Profitwell, and I went in and did they let you export a CSV of pretty much every sort of page on their site. And so I got a CSV of customer numbers, right? Total customers, like new customers added per month, customers who downgrade, who upgrade, etc. So like, the majority in the change in our growth, like, our growth was lower this year, and the majority of that change came from having fewer upgrades. And like, I forget the exact dates. Like, that kind of makes sense to me because we did have this, we were doing this thing, I think in 2019, where we were asking people who were basically using too much of our service on an old plan, we're asking them to upgrade. Or we're asking them to either choose a higher plan, or we're going to choose like a lower plan for them, and they were going to lose some of their errors because they were just not profitable for us to service them. And we, in 2020, we had done all that, and so we didn't really have that upgrade revenue stream. So that was like that was maybe 2/3 of the change, and then the like 1/3 of the change, roughly, was due to increased downgrades. And this really surprised me. Essentially what I did is I went into these spreadsheets, and I just like added up the total downgrade, like total customers who downgraded in 2020, total customers who downgraded in 2019, and just looked at the change. And like, over twice as many customers downgraded in 2020 as in 2019. And if you plot it on a chart by date, you see there's a definite uptick at March. I think that is sort of a legacy of coronavirus for us. And we also changed our plans around then. So I don't know, maybe it has something to do with that as well.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I was going to ask, when I can't remember, when did we release the better basic plan, the new and improved free plan that we have? Because that, I think, would also encourage some downgrades, wouldn't it? Like, if people are like, oh, I have a minimal usage on this plan, I can downgrade to the basic now that they're giving me more.
I don't remember the date off the top of my head. I think it was like somewhere mid-year.
It kind of feels like a coronavirus plus the basic could be a good explanation for seeing continual downgrades. And like from the coronavirus perspective, I can totally get like people are like, oh, we got to find ways to trim our costs. How can we do that? Oh, well, let's cut the amount of traffic that we're sending and errors,
Yeah. Well, and back then, like our main focus was retention. And that's part of the reason that we really juiced the basic plan in the first place, which I don't know. I still think that it's interesting because we have a lot. I mean, that plan has been very popular, it seems, relatively.
Yes. Yeah. Very. Yeah. In fact, I was just starting just this morning before we got on doing some analysis of people who are on the basic plans. Like maybe we're being a little too generous with that plan. So I'm going to run some numbers and see, maybe we need to adjust.
We've had a few people on Twitter mention that like we're the best value at the moment.
Yeah.
Which,
we've had people in the onboarding say, hey, your basic plan gives a lot away, So, yeah.
Oh, that's good. So nobody signed up for a basic plan, just so you know, just like none of our listeners. So y'all want to hear some numbers? Because Josh mentioned that we changed our plans around to, try and increase retention. And so I've actually got the year-over-year churn numbers. So year-over-year, our voluntary churn, which is people who like hit the cancel button, went down 8%. So,
nice.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Our delinquent churn went down 20%.
Wow.
Yeah. I suspect that's due to maybe using profit well retained because I started that.
Yeah, I would definitely say that's a factor.
That's cool.
So this is total numbers of customers. It's not dollars. And let's see. And while I've got you here, I'll just, while I've got the spreadsheet open, our new customers, we got more new customers than we did in 2019. It was up by 6%, which is not amazing, but it's not lower than it was. Yeah.
And that's customers that like excluding free, like basic plan users.
Yeah. That's paying customers.
Paying customers. Cool.
Yeah. And then upgrades were down 9%. And again, that is users, numbers of users. In dollars, upgrades were down 30%. And then downgrades were up 130%.
Oof.
In terms of numbers of users.
Yeah.
So I think that's the story of 2020 is like lots of people just trying to trim costs and downgrading and stuff. And, not as many people actually sort of leaving us, which is nice.
Yeah. And that's cool. That gives a lot of good context. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
So you're saying we need to put the squeeze on everyone in 2021?
2021 is the year we get blood out of that turnip.
What we need to do is send out holiday gifts to all of our customers that is just like a case full of, whiskey or something. Get them all smashed. And so they make really bad coding errors and then they deploy that stuff and create a bunch more traffic. And so they have to upgrade. That's what we got to do.
Just do that all year.
It's a shame that Trump lost because I think there might have been a place for you in his new administration.
I just checked the Stripe dashboard and our basic plan was created on May 19th, 2020.
Okay, good. My brain works. So here's an interesting little tidbit. Even though our numbers of new customers were up by 6%, okay. Our growth in new customers was up by 6%, not new, like our customers weren't up by 6%, but the growth was up 6%. The growth in revenue from new customers was down 26%.
Mm-hmm.
And so that might be due to us lowering our plans and our prices for our plans. Or that makes sense that's how that would work, I guess.
Yeah, we're gonna have to knuckle down. Well, we did warn people when we launched the basic plan, and we announced it on the podcast. We did warn people that you better get it while the getting's good.
Oh yeah,
you have to stick around, right?
That still stands. Like, go get it now.
Totally.
Yeah.
So we're now coming back and we're doing the analysis, and lo and behold, sure enough, having a very generous free plan does reduce the growth revenues numbers.
Yeah.
But at the same, like in our defense, it also did what we set out to do, which was increased retention. Hopefully, I mean, I guess we don't know because people stayed, but I have a feeling that it increased retention somewhat, like some of the stuff, and lowering our prices in general.
Yeah.
That's true. And one interesting thing about this is that the free plan didn't cause a, the better free plan didn't cause an overall decrease in the number of paid signups that we got. I mean,
Nice.
yeah, you could argue that we would have gotten more paid signups had we had a less generous free plan.
Right.
But, when I was looking earlier at the conversion rates of the different plans, like conversion rate didn't really change when we introduced the new free plan, which is, that's good to know. Yeah. And we're getting a lot more free signups than we used to with our old free plan.
Yeah. And that was the other goal, right? To just get more acquisition, get more people using Honeybadger and trying it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
With the hopes that they will eventually get really sloppy in their programming and have to upgrade.
Or, work with more people or.
Yeah.
Or their business grows. And
some companies, they build products or product families around the notion that they need to have cyclical kind of companies. Like if I'm a lawnmower manufacturer, obviously my sales are going to go down in the winter, right? So I should also build snowblowers, right? To kind of even out the thing. So I think what we need is some sort of product that rewards good developers, right? Who have code that is not throwing a bunch of errors. I don't know what that product would be, but to kind of balance out that we got the ones that generate a lot of errors and they got the apps that are really pristine. So we need that product to kind of balance out our product offering there.
I mean, that's a super simple deal. So what we do is we just modify our existing Honeybadger client and just have it count the error rate. And if the error rate is low, it just does a webhook request or does an API request or API. And we send people a cookie bouquet.
Yeah, I like that. Or maybe it's sends an email to their boss saying, "Look how awesome I am."
From their own email account.
Totally.
It's just a time saver.
Yeah, we totally should have that though, like bragging rights. We could put that in our current app, right?
Well, that's a little bit like the gamification stuff we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But you can't reveal the secrets.
Yeah, we won't reveal the details. That's just a little tease.
A little tease.
Oh. Yeah. I don't know if I should talk about, I don't even know what this is. And I don't know if I should keep going because I don't want to give away secrets that I don't know. I was just going to say it would be fun to have an option for the Slack notifier where if the error rate is really low, we can post a good job. Good job, everybody.
Yeah.
To Slack.
Oh, I like that. I really like that. We totally should do that.
Yeah, we totally should do that. Just add that to that. Yeah, we could have a new kind of event. Instead of you've exceeded the threshold event, we could have your threshold is 0 or something.
Yeah.
I don't know the name for it, but you're so awesome. And it's
you don't want it to be semi-random and not it's not going to happen on a regular basis. Your errors were 0 this week. But if it was just a nice little surprise that happens once or twice, in their life cycle, that'd be pretty cool.
That would be cool.
That's a really nice. That's a nice touch. And also that does kind of if adding little features like that reach out in between, if things are quiet, because it's easy to forget that you have Honeybadger if you're not receiving error notifications. I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing to remind them that we're we're not delivering any value at the moment.
Well, there's also the wondering, there's forgetting, and then there's also the wondering, is it still working?
Right.
It's been kind of quiet. Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? And it kind of get that anxiety, So yeah, maybe it could be if there's a quiet period for a few days, whatever. It's oh, we're still here. Nope, your app is still up. It's no, it's just great.
Well, and we do have the digests, which I think we don't send them though when there is no traffic. I'm pretty sure. Do we send one that just says there were no errors this week? We may. I can't remember now.
I can't remember now either.
Yeah.
I don't think I've gone a week without no errors.
We'll have to look at that.
Well, I just hope that that we can I hope the Slack lets you post little animated GIFs.
No, I mean
through their API.
Yeah, the Giphy integration does that. So.
Oh yeah. Okay, great.
It's speaking of in our household, we have two teenagers and they have opposite views on how you're supposed to pronounce GIF. And it causes some heated arguments around the dinner table.
Yeah. In the same household, that's rough.
Yeah. At least it's not, Vim versus Emacs.
Yeah, my take on it is that I just switch randomly, but whichever one I use, I just fight to the death that it is correct.
Right. That's what you got to do. It's those opinions strongly held. Right?
So you get to have an argument every day.
So back to the growth thing. So I was, just thinking about this. I'm like, okay, what are ways you can get growth? Obviously, you can do more advertising, get more people in the door, but you can also do, which we don't do, you could also do outbound, right? You could have a direct sales force or a salesperson or some sort of thing that effectively is sales. And I was wondering, okay, yeah, that's cool, but Mike, I hate getting emails from people like, you should buy my thing, right? And it's like, I don't care about your thing. And so my question is, how do you do outbound sales? That's not really annoying. That's kind of where I'm stumped. So you guys have answers? You can help me out here?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Well, one thing just to always remember is that like everyone is not you. So, I mean, I think it's a pretty safe assumption that like most people don't like just cold sales emails, but I mean, like they obviously work, or people wouldn't be doing them for like since the invention of email. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
I do have to admit I do get the occasional email that's blind, and I'm like, oh yeah, that might be something I should check out.
Yeah,
but it's rare.
Out of the few that have caught my attention, it's usually someone that's like doing something different, like from the other salespeople that are emailing me. And if it's like whimsical or they're actually like giving me some sort of value immediately. I don't have any examples of that, but it's just a vague thought that like that may be one way, is to like try to be unique in the way that you're reaching out to people, or maybe be like self-aware even about how this, I don't know how you do that, but
so you're recommending the purple cow approach.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, that's good. I like it.
Start with like a self-deprecating comment,
Right.
I'm wondering if our current pricing model like would support outbound sales. It takes a certain amount of time and effort to do a sale, and I'm just like wondering at what point, like, what does our price need to be to have positive ROI?
Yeah. Well,
on that,
I read,
this isn't an objection. I'm just wondering totally. Out loud.
It just so happens I read a blog post the other day that answers that question. Jason Lemkin, SaaStr fame, he addressed this question this past week, I think it was, in a blog post. We can link it up in the show notes. But basically, the TLDR is, you could get away with less, but $299 per month is really the floor for having a honest to goodness outbound sales organization that works.
That's helpful.
Yeah. And like, we totally have customers who are paying us more than $299 a month. So if we find them via sales, then that could work, right? Of course, the majority of our customers are spending, I think the majority of our customers are spending less than that. So we wouldn't want to find them.
Yeah.
So we'd have to do some segmentation work and find out how to really get the customers that we want to into that kind of pipeline. But
yeah, it seems like you'd still be going after more like the medium to enterprise people.
Right. And as I started to think about this, you start going down that path, and it's like, well, at the same time, we don't really want to go exactly the same path that our big competitors are going. We won't want to try and do the same game plan that Sentry's doing, right? Because obviously they have more resources than we do, and so that's just not going to work. So yeah, you can't say, well, I'm just going to do the enterprise call down playbook, because that's presumably what Sentry is doing right now.
I had kind of a thought based on that recently, just because Sentry is changing so much, and it seems like since they're like the large player in the air tracking market, it seems like there are people out there that are the small to medium people that are being alienated a little bit by some of the changes that they're making, and also that they're kind of departing from just straight air tracking and going into the like the APM performance monitoring space, and really like obviously targeting more enterprise people. And I think we heard recently even like some people were complaining that they had like made their free plan even less useful to them, and that's a reason some people were switching recently. So it makes me wonder, like, since that has always been our target audience anyway, maybe there's an opportunity there for us to like double down on the smaller accounts, which is kind of what we're good at capturing in the first place. And both via like capturing the free users, but also like figuring out how to convert them and capture more of the mid-paying customers as well, who maybe just don't want another New Relic or soon to be new Relic,
Right. The good news is the blog has done a great job of getting those kind of customers in the door. Like, I guess it was Ben Finley's idea. I can't remember whose idea it was to have the onboarding survey that we have as part of our onboarding process, where any new customer who signs up, they're asked like, well, any thoughts for us or anything you want to tell us as you get started? That has been a gold mine of information. Like hearing people say, oh, I saw this blog post that such and such wrote and decided to check you out. Or like that tidbit about Sentry changing their free plan. Like that came in.
Got a lot of people
through the onboarding. Yeah.
A lot of people fill that out.
That reminds me, I was meaning to go and do a report of all those comments, like everybody who left a comment and like what action did they perform? Are they a paying customer now? Like what happened to them?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. Thank you for mentioning the blog. Like that was a big thing I did in 2020. And yeah, overall, I think like I'm pretty happy with how it's going. Like I was working up some, I'm sort of still in the middle of working up a sort of end of year analysis, like what do I want to change going forward and stuff like that. But overall, like we produced a bunch of blog posts. We got a bunch of authors working with us. We know that some of those are leading to conversions. I have a nice little chart of blog post traffic. Our blog post traffic correlates extremely well with our plans page traffic. And our plans page traffic correlates pretty well with our signups. And so, you can overlay blog post traffic with our signups and you can kind of see how the curves sort of follow each other. And it's a little bit hard to see because there's a lot of noise and stuff. And it may just be completely in my imagination. Hopefully not. I do have a vested interest, but like, yeah, I'll share those charts with you two later. And yeah, so what I am sort of currently, working on is sort of figuring out like what direction we want to go in the future with the blog, because this year, basically I was just trying to get this system up and running. Like I wanted to have a post every week. I wanted to have people, other people other than me writing them, and essentially have this process that is kind of mechanical and spits out, content for our blog. And so I think I've got that working pretty well. Overall, it's caused our sort of year-over-year traffic to increase by, I don't know, I think it was like 40 to 60%, depending on like what month you look at it. And yeah, so going forward, it's like, okay, now which topics performed really well for us, and how does that correspond with the people who are actually signing up? Like, I don't know, I asked Ben Finley to run a report of like how much traffic each blog post got. And it's a little bit, I don't know, I'm a little bit torn because like the most traffic that any of our blog posts got was an article about Go. And I shared this other report with y'all earlier where basically Go users account for like no growth. Like we don't have a lot of Go users. And so I don't know if like, is this an opportunity for us to like target Go users, or is this just a red herring,
Yeah.
So is Go even sort of like amenable to the Honeybadger way of doing errors? Are people using Go more likely to want an APM type solution?
That's a good thing we have you here to figure all that out for us. So.
Yeah.
These are the hard problems to solve.
Hard problems, yes.
One thing to keep in mind is that, some Go users do use Ruby. A lot of Go users are using multiple languages, I think, too. Or a lot of developers from other ecosystems will use Go as kind of a utility, I think, like in some cases.
Yeah, kind of like.
So it may be like a gateway, kind of, like it's not like they're going to sign up for Go necessarily, but maybe Go brings them to the blog.
Yeah, that's true. It's just, I don't know. Yeah. I think it's a matter of percentages, right? Because like all users aren't Go users.
Yeah.
It's like, is it 5%? So then like you multiply that traffic by 5%, and is that greater or less than just our straight Ruby articles, where 100% of those readers are Ruby users? One thing that I'm intrigued by going forward is like the second, if you ignore JavaScript, which I do if I can. Our second biggest language is PHP, and we haven't published any PHP content on our blog. So I'm curious, like, if we're able to do more PHP, if that might be an easy source of sort of people who could be customers who we are not targeting.
Yeah, that would definitely be worth trying some experiments around. We've done some advertising in PHP land, which accounts for probably some of the users that we have.
I'm sure it accounts for it. Yeah, I'm sure that, I'm pretty sure that PHP, like, the reason it's our second biggest language is simply because, like, that's the other language that we put like a sustained, like, marketing push behind. Mm-hmm. And even though that marketing push isn't really there anymore, it was sort of a one-time thing. It has continued to sort of pay off.
And we still are.
We do a little.
Yeah, we do a little. We still engage with it. Like we did Laracon EU sponsorship.
Yeah.
So that's coming up, I guess. So
okay.
Here and there. But yeah, definitely not the concerted effort we did in that one quarter where we really pushed it.
Yeah. So if you're listening to this, if you're a PHP developer who wants to write a blog post and get paid a substantial amount of money for it, go to honeybadger.io/blog and look for the Write For Us link, and it'll have all the instructions. That page doesn't really mention PHP, but it will soon.
Speaking of spending money on authors, which I think has been fantastic, but it made me think, have we looked at our cost to acquire a customer? Like, have we looked at all of our expenses for blog and ads and podcasts, et cetera, then divided that by the number of new customers that came in this year and see what that number is? I haven't done it.
I haven't done it either.
We should do that.
Okay.
Yeah,
we'll do it live. We can
do it right now.
Do it right now.
You can see our readers get to see the fascinating process of, like, creating spreadsheets.
But no, I think that. I don't know why I hadn't thought of doing this before, but it seems like we should really do that. Like, hey, because we have a set budget, right? We've determined a blog budget. We determined a overall marketing budget, and we should say, hey, what are we getting the ROI? Are we getting some benefit out of all this money we're spending?
Yeah, that's it's probably because I never got an MBA or something, but, like, occasionally I will stumble across something and I'll just be like, why have I not been doing this for the past 10 years?
Right.
For example, I did a deep dive while we were mostly gone on the podcast into our conversion rate. And our conversion rate has always been sort of like, if you just look at our global conversion rate, it's always been a little bit suspiciously low. It's like, if you believe it, it's like, okay, we've got just tons of people just signing up and then immediately really not doing anything. And so I was just like, okay, like, what happens if we do conversion rate by country? And then, like, suddenly the fog clears and everything makes sense. And it turns out that sort of through this, there's a lot more steps involved, but basically, figuring out, like, our conversion rate significantly skewed by people who are pen testers, people who are probably hackers, people signing up for an account, trying to, enter in a quick, like, SQL injection into some form and then ditching. And so if you look at conversion, and most of those people are coming to us, not all, but most of them are coming to us from Southeast Asia. So we have wonderful customers in Southeast Asia, and I'm not meaning to denigrate anyone from there. I'm just saying that if we exclude those numbers from our conversion rate, it's like, okay, suddenly things make a little bit more sense in terms of our effort. And it turns out that, like, we actually have a pretty good conversion rate, especially among Rubyists. Like, essentially, if you're a Rubyist and you sign up for a Honeybadger trial, there's like a 50% chance that you're going to become a paid customer, which is, like, pretty awesome, I think. So good work, everyone.
Yeah, that was an awesome analysis that you did.
Thank you.
And that makes me think that when we do that customer acquisition cost math, we should cut out, the numbers of people that are showing up from just doing pen testing and going away after a day.
Yeah, so it's always weird. Like, I did this sort of deep dive into the spreadsheets. I've sort of continued that a little bit in this blog end of the year review. But now it's sort of a matter of like, okay, now what do I actually do based on this knowledge?
Yeah.
That's always a little bit harder. I mean, there's some things that seem to be clear, but I guess it's just a process of getting the train moving, right? It takes a little time to get up to speed.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think one of the questions that came out of that, what do we do with that information is, okay, so maybe we should double down on talking to Ruby folk, like every Ruby podcast should have a Honeybadger ad embedded in it, right? Because we know that they convert really well.
Yeah.
Or is the better answer to okay, well, we need to juice the numbers on our other languages. So maybe we need to double down on everything PHP so we can get, them to a higher number. Yeah. So,
or both.
So or both. Yeah.
Or all.
Yeah. So even with good data, you still have to go with, okay, now figure that out. That's what I love about running a business. Who knows? No one can give you that answer until you actually try some stuff and spend some money and time and do some experiments.
Well, if we got that number of what it costs to acquire a customer, which we should know, that makes it easy to spend money,
So you just gave me a thought. Yeah, if we have the cost to acquire a Ruby customer versus the cost to acquire a PHP customer, then we know how much money to spend on a Ruby ad versus a PHP ad, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, segmenting for the win.
Yeah, that's always been the hard thing when you're talking about specific marketing efforts. That's been always the hard thing for us is figuring what that number is. I mean, we've been chasing that number for our entire existence.
Here's a good goal for me is to get let's grow Honeybadger big enough where I can just do spreadsheets and data analysis full time. Because I just love it. I don't know why. It just makes me happy.
Yeah, totally. I'm down with that. It's a good goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll just tell everybody else what to do.
Right.
Or not even that, because I don't want the responsibility. I just I'll just be if you do this, you have a 50% chance of success.
So you're saying you want to start a lucrative live streaming career where you live stream yourself working on spreadsheets?
No, I'm just saying I want to be the I just want to be Honeybadger's in-house business consultant.
I was about to say, it sounds like you want to become a McKinsey consultant. I've poured over all the data and here's what you should do. Good luck with that.
I'm down.
That's what they do, right?
Yeah, but, when I do that for us, it's not. I don't feel like a terrible person. I don't feel like I'm making the world a worse place.
Well, I think overall 2020 was a good year. I mean, obviously it was a really bad year, but it was also a good year. We had, like Josh said, we got a lot of good things done, and we didn't die. We didn't go out.
We learned a lot about ourselves, I would say.
Did we?
I think just as a company, I feel like I learned a lot about myself in 2020 and as, about the business. And before 2020, I didn't know how our business would respond to a crisis of that magnitude. And now I do. Every crisis is different. Obviously, the next one could wipe us out, but
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like we weathered a pretty big storm, and maybe I feel fairly confident about the future still. So it's nice. There have been some lows, but I think it's important to come back to that optimistic stance on the future. That's part of as an entrepreneur, that's kind of what keeps you going. So I'm always looking for that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think 2020 has definitely contained a lot of opportunity for personal growth. It's what is
understatement of the year.
It's another growth opportunity.
Yay! So we're going to grow some more.
Yay!
Do you think we'll grow some more in 2021?
Yeah, probably. Well, it's, I think we did okay given that we were out of practice. And would you all like to wrap it up?
Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you for listening to FounderQuest. Just so you know, when I draw a word out like that, it's not because I'm trying to sound like an announcer. It's because I'm literally trying to figure out what word comes next. So that's probably why all radio personalities do it. Anyway, if you would like to write for us, go to honeybadger.io/blog. We're looking for PHP people. We've got a link to a Write For Us page on there. And yeah, if you want to give us a review on iTunes, that's great. And if not, that's cool too. We love you anyway. And we hope that you all are having an okay time as much as possible. Good luck.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. May God have mercy on your souls. Okay, bye.
See y'all.
Bye.
FounderQuest is a weekly podcast by the founders of Honeybadger. Zero instrumentation, 360-degree coverage of errors, outages, and service degradations for your web apps. If you have a web app, you need it. Available at honeybadger.io. Want more from the founders? Go to FounderQuestPodcast.com. That's one word, where you can access our huge back catalog of episodes. FounderQuest is available on iTunes, Spotify, and other purveyors of fine podcasts. We'll see you next week.